Started. So thank you all for joining us this evening for our senior options night. I know this is one of our third parents evenings that we've had in relation to our stuff going on in school. So this is our first senior options night online. So thank you very much for joining us. If you can't hear, just have another message in there. If you can't hear, just make sure that you're joining with audio. So just check that as you join, okay? Otherwise you won't be able to hear us. And just make sure, double check that you're on mute as well. So connect with audio. So this evening's presentation is based on our senior options, our TY options, our LCA options, and our established leaving cert options. So there's a number of us here that are going to speak with you about all of these options. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Lucia Ryan, the principal of the school. We have Mr. Fleming here, who's a deputy principal. We have Miss Clancy, who's a deputy principal. Hello. And a guidance counsellor. We have Miss Costello, who is a deputy principal. We have Hello. Mr. Brady, who is the third year head and a guidance counsellor. We have Miss O'Regan, who is a guidance counsellor and the assistant year head And we have Mr. Noel Wade here, who is the TY coordinator.
Hello.
And thank you. And we have Mr. Kerr as well, who's going to do the administrating of this meeting, okay? So just first of all, I hope you're all keeping well and I hope all your families are keeping well. It's been a difficult time for people over the last couple of weeks, trying to get used to another lockdown and getting used to remote learning. But I just want to say thank you all for your continued support to the school. We've received huge support from parents and your children have been playing an absolute blinder over the last few weeks. They're doing you all a serious credit. They've been engaging really well. They've been attending their online classes and they've been submitting their assignments really, really well. So we're extremely proud of them and how well they've done. So I'm going to share my screen with you first and you'll see we'll run through a PowerPoint with you and then towards the end we'll do a Q&A session where you can, to I suppose avoid loads of people talking at the same time, you can raise your hand on Zoom and we'll come around to you, we'll rotate it around, or you can put up on the chat feature your question and we'll answer it then together as a panel, okay? Okay, so that should be sharing with you there now. Yes. And we're going to start off. I'm going to introduce Mr. Brady.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me and see me. I'm the current third year head, and you know I've really enjoyed working with them over the past 3 years. And really, we want to commend you all for the support you've given them, especially over the past 5 weeks. You know, it's been remarkable how much cooperation and diligence and good humour really they've shown since having to work online. Tonight you will receive a lot of information and I know that many of you are already at an advanced stage in making decisions, you know, but some will be extremely relevant and some less so. In the past week or so, there's been an awful lot of informed, detailed queries that have come our way from students, and it's great to see the amount of detail and thought that has gone in to their educational path from yourselves and from our students. There's been a great response to TY this year with really big numbers looking to do it, and I've already had to write some reference letters, some letters of recommendation for students who want to do TY because they're already thinking about what work experience to go on and so on. So I would say that not everybody who applies to transition year is given a place in transition year. As a program, we obviously give more freedom to our students. And as you know, with freedom comes responsibility. And if students have not shown that they can be very responsible in our school, then we will decline their application for transition year. Now, if your son or daughter is going into 5th year, well, then they are currently deciding what subjects to choose. And we get a lot more information about that as the evening goes on. I would say about the Leaving Cert that it's a really busy 2-year course, which begins from day 1. So we'll be encouraging and helping the students to hit the ground running, to be organized, to set up a routine, and to make the most of their time with us. Of course, you can help them as you do always anyway, and especially you can provide a really suitable space for them to work and study at home. The Leaving Cert is more really a test of stamina and memory than it is an intelligence test. So our students who work hard and continuously do a little bit every day, we'd see them scoring higher than students who are, you know, maybe gifted, naturally gifted, but haven't worked hard throughout the 2 years. Of course, the key ingredients that bring the students to a Leaving Cert that they can be really proud of are hard work and motivation, having a positive attitude, you know, being a full-time student. There's really no time for part-time work if they want to achieve their potential. Having really good attendance, keeping their sport or interests going, and then of course, maintaining good mental health. And we're there to help with all of that as you are. As the year ahead, I will challenge the students to achieve their potential and to stay on top of their work. I'll be asking them from day one, how close to your best Leaving Cert do you want to get? And how hard are you willing to work to make that happen? Because we do have some outstanding students in our school. You know, if you look back over the years, nearly 70% of our graduates every year go on to third level education. And we've had students who have achieved maximum points in their Leaving Cert. And that's important to know, because our students need to know that they are in a school where they can achieve as high as they want if they put the work in themselves. So I really look forward to working with you all as partners in the education of these great young people. We are very conscious as a school that, as well as pushing the educational development of our students, we also want them to help them become kind and thoughtful and caring people also. Now, moving on, there's 3 options, as Miss Ryan said, that are available to our third years moving forward. There's transition year, there's the Leaving Cert Deployed program, and there's the traditional Leaving Cert program. And I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Wade, who will speak about transition year.
Well, hello and good evening, everybody. And I'm just so used to, it's a bit unusual for me because I've done this for many years on a Thursday night in the school. So it's fantastic to see so many people. So you're very welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly explain to you how TY operates in our school. And I'm just going to look here at our slide, which gives us a pretty good overview. And I'll go left to right along the slide. So for us, transition year is a bridge between junior and Leaving Certificate. And that's very important to understand, that it's neither one or the other, and as such. So they are senior cycle students, but the focus is to allow students to literally cross the bridge from the difficult 3 years into the more challenging 2 years ahead, where we give them an opportunity to express themselves and to get to know themselves a little bit better. It's been going on, as we see, for 26 years. And we've developed it and changed it and shaped it depending on the student body and the staff and ideas, and indeed the parents. It's a collective effort. So it allows, as we say here on the third part, the students the opportunity to explore what makes them tick, what interests them. It's a two-way process for our students and ourselves. And so we ask our students to come with ideas, we ask them to come with initiative, we ask them to come with plenty of, an open mind, because it's so different in some ways to what they'll have done so far. We'll present our students with situations, as we say, that will challenge them. And traditionally, unfortunately, this year is a little bit more difficult, but let's hope that things will allow us to explore the world a little bit better. We allow our students to challenge themselves in areas that they may not have done so, not just academically, but for socially, intellectually, emotionally, artistically, sporting wise. You name it, and we'll try and present the challenges to them. What's important as well is that you can see on the point we make here, that allows students to become more confident and give them the opportunity to explore what they want in the school. And confidence is something that is not easily gained. It's built up, as we know from ourselves in school, and we want our students at the end of transition year to be more confident about themselves, more confident about approaching schoolwork, and just more confident in general. It allows them, very importantly, and we know this ourselves, and Mr. Brady is an old hand at this, that when Mr. Brady has brought a group of students now for 3 years together, we're very close friends, and we're now going to ask them in September to not necessarily break up their previous friendship groups, but to introduce themselves to new friends and get to know new students in the school that they may not have known before now. So that social part of it is important, and students will need to be aware of that when they move into TY, third year is over, second year is over, we give them a brand new group, brand new class, and they have to, you know, establish new friendships, and that's important. And that takes a little bit of time to start of the year, but it's always something that pays off. Research also, and we know this in school, and Mr. Brady will come back to this, and he says that the students who compete TY achieve on average 50 points, if not more. And that year particularly allows students to, when they get into 5th and 6th year, to have that little advantage, okay? And what's important for us is that when we want to get our students to 5th year, we want them to have that year extra, and all of us as teachers will tell you it makes a huge difference. All right, sorry about that now, I hope that cleared that up for you there. So just very quickly running through that, and we'll go clockwise on this. We have our core subjects that they will already be doing, and just for yourselves, it's important to understand that, for example, the Department of Education pretty much told us last year at the end of the year that we do, you know, need to keep a good focus on the core subjects and the core academic subjects as well in TY, and it's something that we do promote, and we do consider really important that they keep an eye on this. So, for example, mathematics maintains you know, a strong link between 3rd year and 5th year maths, as do the other core subjects. They will still be doing English, Irish, maths. They will still be doing their language that they have been doing, but we will give them other areas to do, and I'll come to that in a few minutes. They have to do activities and projects, particularly for those subjects that they do, and one of the important elements as well, I will come to here in the bottom of our pie chart, is work experience. Now, work experience module this year has been challenging, as you can imagine, because particularly for us where we are situated, it's never been difficult really for students to find work experience, okay? So in this case, for work experience, we're looking, you know, we're going to have, normally it's a 2-week placement. It takes place at this time of year. It takes place the 2 weeks before the midterm break. It's a block of two weeks that, and this is important as well for ourselves, just for that, you know, that it's the students themselves that find the work placement. Now, you are the best help in this. You are the people who have a lot of information on this. So work experience, as I said, 2 weeks back, and can I just give you one important point about that? And I was talking during the week about this, that there are no gaps on our timetable anywhere for TY. Sometimes people think our timetable looks different. It looks the same as the other students' timetables. They start at the same time, they finish at the same time, and they do the same amount of timetable classes. There are no blocks in the timetable to say, well, you can go and do something else. However, for work experience, I will add this to you, that if your son or daughter finds a work experience placement that we think is really worth doing outside of that block, then we can discuss that with you, and that's absolutely doable. Trips, unfortunately, this year have been incredibly challenging, and let's hope we can do that, because we've always done lots and lots of trips in our school, but they always feature in it because teachers love to have the chance to take students out on trips, and guest speakers as well. We invite guest speakers in, and we're constantly working on that area. So we could have people from industry, from the arts, to come in and talk to our students. We've had filmmakers come in, we've had people who have been very successful in the sales industry, people in electronics, so on. So, and finally, we love doing charity, and that's always been a big thing in our TY year group. So that's just, I know that looks like the old Blockbusters scoreboard that you used to watch. Mr. Fleming used to watch. He's looking like he remembers that. Okay. Yeah. So the old Blockbuster scoreboard here, that we can see that if you can just throw your eyes on that, you can just see the amount of stuff that we do try to get through. And there's stuff that we haven't done before, and there are stuff that we will be doing again. One of the areas that you might be interested in is applied psychology, for example. And there are very few schools that teach this at this level. This is not you know, just a kind of an add-on psychology program. It's a proper psychology class. We do photography as a subject. We do Japanese as a subject. We also do Russian, And I know that that can change. You know, Russian can change sometimes. That may be another language. We do Japanese as well. We've done ballroom dancing, believe it or not, this year under extraordinary circumstances, but we managed to do it, which was, we did it, we've always had our dancing program. We did run dancing until the break, and that is something that our students have always enjoyed. We did it socially distanced this year as well, which took doing, so hopefully we can get that back again. So if you're looking there, one of the things I can, you know, you can see we do yoga, but including also PE, home ec. There's a wide variety of subjects. Now, you're wondering maybe to yourselves, how do we get all of this stuff into the timetable? Well, we do it by being creative with the timetable. In other words, we rotate our timetables around during the year. So that's how we manage to get all of that stuff fitted into it. And what's important as well is I can see our career guidance people will have done so much work here at the bottom right hand side, sorry, I'm looking back up to where is junior achievement. And that's a fantastic program that we've run in the school as well. Now, you know, people have asked me, can you link in with local businesses? And that's exactly what Junior Achievement does. And as a matter of fact, I just got a link this morning from a pharmaceutical company in the area that might be interested in doing work with us later on this year. So we are open to everything. It's kind of hard for me to do this, or else to do this here without me standing there telling you all of this and to try and squash it into this one slide, but it gives you an idea of all of the things. And the critical question I come back to again is this, is that between the age of 15 and 16, particularly our students, the difference between that year, that when they finish third year and start fifth year, when they have this extra year, all of us as teachers and school leaders know it makes a huge difference, not just in terms academically, but socially and so on. Okay. Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade. I just want to come in there for a couple of minutes. Look, one of the things I love about TY, we're very passionate about the TY program, and I've been promoting it with Mr. Wade for the last few years. And what I love about the students that have finished TY is the difference I see in them between when they start and when they finish. They're hugely confident when they finish. They're much more able to express themselves. And I love seeing them in those challenging situations that we put them in and seeing the growth they get from that. Okay, so I've done some focus groups with kids who've done TY and kids who didn't do it. And there is a big difference. And it kind of goes back to what Mr. Wade said about the maturity. And that's one of the reasons that they get extra points in their Leaving Cert. They generally score about 50 to 60 points more in their Leaving Cert. So on that, your sons and daughters have been communicating with me over a Microsoft Teams forum over the last week. I've got about 171 responses to the form, so there's a good few left to go. We have a big TY year group this year, which allows us to be really flexible with the things that we do, which is brilliant. And so if you can just have a chat to your son or daughter and just make sure that they filled out that form so we can begin to plan what we can do in TY. And myself and Ms. Clint and Mr. Brady have been in every class over the last week or so and got a chance to talk to them about it. So they're really well cued in about it. They're a great year group. So I look forward to seeing them next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Mrs. Fleming. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to speak to you really briefly about our Leaving Cert Apply programme. So just for some of you maybe who aren't familiar with this or are not sure what it's about. So it is an alternative approach for senior cycle. So if you feel that your child is not ready for the established or the traditional Leaving Cert, this might be something that might appeal to them. It's a 2-year programme and it's aimed at preparing the students for adult and working life. So it's kind of like a 3-pronged approach. There's a vocational focus, there's an academic focus, and then there's a practical focus. And it's marked differently than the traditional Leaving Cert, which works quite well for all of the students who do the Leaving Cert Apply programme. And I'll speak to you a little bit more about that in a minute. So the next slide just gives a quick overview of the different subjects that we look at over the 2 years in Leaving Cert Applied. So similar to TY in terms of, you know, there's an emphasis on bonding, class bonding, team building, and there's lots of different trips included over the 2 years. So if you have a look there, there are subjects that you you will be very familiar with English, Irish, maths, music, religion, ICT. And then there are newer subjects or less familiar subjects like vocational preparation and guidance. You have career guidance, office administration and customer care, leisure and recreation, and graphics and communication. There is a work experience element there. So following on from the vocational aspect, this aims to prepare the students for the world of work. It allows them the opportunity out into the workforce to experience different things over the 2-year programme. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. So this last slide on the Leaving Cert Applied programme, just in terms of how it's graded. So there's 3 different awards, and they are pass, merit, and a distinction. So the great thing about the Leaving Cert Applied programme is students can earn credits that are accumulated or banked over the 2 years, and they use these credits then in the bank before they sit their Leaving Cert. So before they go in to sit their Leaving Cert exams at the end of 6th year, they have a number of credits built up so that they kind of can judge where they are or what level of award they are at. Each subject then has key assignments which the student completes to earn these credits. So if you feel like your child might be overwhelmed in the established Leaving Cert, this is kind of, each of the subjects are broken down into modules, and at the end of the modules, students complete key assignments and tasks, and these then work towards their credits, which go towards their Leaving Cert at the end of the 2 years. Students are rewarded for their project work, their in-class key assignments, their written exams, and attendance, and this is key here. So if your student is not prepared to commit to the attendance element of this, then this won't work, because a certain percentage of their Leaving Cert goes towards their attendance. So full attendance is essential here. Students, sometimes parents will say, what can my child do after they do the Leaving Cert Applied programme? And there is lots of opportunities for these students. So students can use their results from the LCA programme to progress to a PLC college. When they get into the PLC college, they can do 1 or 2 years there, and then if they felt they wanted to, they can go on to universities, to Maynooth, to TU Dublin, just to pursue courses in the careers of their choice, or they can go into the world of work, or they could leave the PLC after the 1 or 2 years and go into the world of work, into their chosen careers. So if you feel like this is something that would suit your child, please do not hesitate to contact any of us. We can have a discussion. We can give you further details on the programme. As Mr. Fleming said, we have been into all the classes over the last week, so your child is very well aware of this programme. So if you felt like they would be suitable, have a conversation with them. As I say, don't hesitate to drop us an email, and we can follow that email up with a phone call to talk you through the programme. That's brilliant. Thanks, Miss Ryan. I'm just going to hand you over now to Miss O'Regan.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Emma O'Regan. I'm Guidance Counsellor in Hartstown Community School, and thanks so much for everyone coming on this evening to listen to our talk. So I'm going to talk about the options if your son or daughter have decided to go on to 5th year, and this includes for the students who did TY this year. So they have 21 subjects to choose from. We have a huge range in Hartstown, probably one of the biggest in the area, and students pick 7 subjects to do for their Leaving Cert. English, Irish and maths are compulsory, and then they pick another 4 subjects from the different choices. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. So the choices that they have. So in the practical department, you've got construction studies, which is woodwork at junior cycle. You've got engineering, you've got DCG, that would be technical graphics at junior cycle. They have technology, and we have PE. So we have our first group in 5th year doing PE this year, and we're going to carry it forward. Then in the sciences, we've got chemistry, biology and physics. Business, we've got accountancy and business studies. In the social, we've got home economics, history, geography, religious studies, and politics and society. In the artistic, we've got music and art. And then for the languages, we've got French, German, Spanish, and Japanese. Now, Japanese is only available to those students who have done transition year, because they would have done Japanese during TY, and then that allows them to choose it then for Leaving Cert. When you're looking at all these subjects, quite a number of them have a practical element or a booklet element. And this is really important just to recognize, because it means, so say for music, for an example, they have a practical exam, which is usually around March before the Leaving Cert, and that's worth 50% of their overall mark. I know for art, they have art history, which is the exam, but they also do fine art, and they have a project to do. Again, it's worth between 60 and 65% of the overall paper. The same for construction, engineering, they have to make different things that they've been assigned, and that goes towards the final paper. The same with geography, biology, home economics. They all have different subjects, sorry, not biology, geography, history, religion, home economics. They have booklets which are worth about 20%. So that's a huge mark, you know, towards their overall grade before they sit the paper. And for a lot of students, it really does suit them. So it's just something to keep in mind also when you're using your subjects. The next one, please, Ms. Ryan. So the frequently asked questions, and this is what we're hoping for you to answer for all of you tonight. What should the students do to make the informed choices? What factors should influence their choice? The subjects the students choose from, which I've just after showing you. What students need to get into college? And what is the best advice you as a parent can give your child regarding subject choice? So I'll start answering those for you now, Ms. Ryan, thank you. So making an informed choice. The students have been given, you know, their presentations for over the last week from Ms. Clinton, Mr. Brady and Ms. Hemming, and they've been advised of this as well. They're to talk to you, their parents. I mean, you know them very well. You can see how they are managing with their different subjects at junior cycle. So talk to you, see what subjects they are doing well at and what they enjoy. Talk to their different subject teachers. I mean, obviously we can't do it face to face, but the teachers are teaching them every single day. We're online and they can message the teachers and ask them if they want to. Also talk to students who may be doing the subjects. They may have friends or brothers and sisters who have done subjects that they might be interested in. To read through this online subject choice. It's on their Teams page, and we're also going to put this up on the school website tomorrow. And there's a guidance and counselling section on the school website, and this presentation will be there if you want to go through it over the next week or so with your son or daughter. And then lastly, also speak to the guidance counsellor. There's myself, and they're so lucky. They have Mr. Brady also as their third year head, and he's got the cap of guidance counsellor as well. So, you know, they can talk to us, and Miss Clintz is there with us as well. So there's loads of people to talk to and to get advice from. Thank you, Ms. Ryan. So how do they make their choices? The one thing we say is pick the subjects you like the best. Why? Because you're good at them and you're going to do well at them, and that will get you the points. So that's the most important thing. And subjects you are good at, you don't find them difficult. And you have to remember, you know, at Leaving Cert, it's very, very different. Everyone's looking for points, and the better grade you get, the more points you get. So it's really important that students pick subjects they like and that they're good at. Also, like I just said, to speak to their teachers. For some students, they may be lucky and they might have a career in mind, maybe a broad idea. And with that, then they might just pick, you know, subjects with that career in mind. And obviously for the majority of students, they haven't a clue what they're thinking about in terms of career. So what we say is keep it broad, you know, maybe take a science subject or humanities subject and language, and just keep it very, very broad, that when their time comes to choosing colleges and courses, that they have a lot of options open to them. The next one, please. What factors how do students make their, what factors should not influence the students? A big one is, and we know this, you know, young people and their peers, they want to do the same as each other, and they're following each other around, and they think, oh, well, we'll pick the same subjects like geography or biology and we'll be in the same class. Well, that doesn't happen, firstly, because we have 5, 6, 7 different geography classes or biology classes, so they're not going to be in the same class. And this is a very individual decision, and they have to make it for themselves. Also, listening to older siblings or friends about subjects. Sometimes this is kind of biased advice, because we're all different. We all have different strengths. So you might have, you know, a friend or an older brother or sister, say, for example, I keep picking music because it's my subject, but say they did music and they loved it and they were brilliant at it and they found it so easy. And then they're telling, you know, their younger brother or sister, oh, pick music, it's great, it's easy. But that person might not have the aptitude for music, and they mightn't be as good as their older brother or sister. So it's very, very important that you play to your own strengths. And sometimes we find advice from others might just be because they found it easier, and you know, it's very important to stick with what they're very good at. Sometimes we hear students say, oh, like, especially with the likes of maybe applied maths or physics, and oh, you have to be really intelligent to do that subject. Again, that is not true. It's all to do with interest and what your aptitude is like and how good you are at a subject. So again, just to be very, very mindful of that. And the big thing is no such thing as an easy subject. A subject is only easy if you are good at it. And that is the really important thing we want to kind of hammer home to the students and to yourselves, is it's great to get advice from people. And it's, you know, and you know, as we always say, knowledge is power. But in the end of the day, these are, you know, individual students with their own strengths, and it's very, very important that we play to that. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. So why do they have to pick 7 subjects? The CAO, which is the Central Applications Office, this is where the students apply to colleges in 6th year. They award points based on students' best 6 subjects. So the 7th subject then really is used as a safety net. And the school timetable is structured around students studying 7 subjects. And then when it comes to the point system, their best 6 will be taken into account. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. So the Leaving Cert point system, it changed in 2017. So it's now H1, H2, H3, H standing for higher, and then the equivalent for ordinary level 01, 02, 03. So if a student gets between 90 and 100%, they receive a H1, and that is 100 points. A H2, 80 to 89%, and they get 88 points. And it goes down like that in that order. If a student does ordinary level subject and they get 90 to 100%, they get a 0, it's called an 01, and that is 56. Now, we are always encouraging students to study to take as many higher level subjects as they possibly can, because the more higher level subjects they have, the more points that they are likely to get. And if a student has to drop down to ordinary level, as you can see from there, they're dropping down 44 points immediately. So that's why we really put such a strong emphasis on students picking subjects they like and picking subjects they are good at, because then they will be doing the higher level in it and getting the maximum points that they can possibly can for themselves. And also, if a student is taking higher level maths, and if they get between a H1 to a H6, they'll get a bonus 25 points. Thank you, Ms. Ryan. So the Leaving Cert point system. Every subject counts equally for entry into college or university. Points are calculated from the student's best 6 results in one sitting of the Leaving Cert, and then entry is given to those with the highest points for the competitive courses. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. So, colleges and universities, each one are different. Each one has their own minimum entry requirements. Some courses have specific course requirements, and then some careers obviously have their own requirements. So I'm just going to go through each one of these and explain them to you. Next one, please, Ms. Ryan. So, specific course requirements. 1 or 2 science subjects are required for the following courses. That's science, medicine, physio, dentistry, veterinary, medicine, pharmacy, nursing, speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, and dietetics. So if your son or daughter is interested in this, please check the college website to see what science subject they might need, and if it's 1 or 2. Like, for example, for nursing, they need biology, And for, you know, dietetics, they'll need biology and chemistry. So, you know, different courses require different science subjects. So just very important to check that. If you want to be a primary school teacher, you have to have a H4 in Irish. Some engineering courses in the universities require a H4 in maths. Now, the ITs, you don't, for some of their courses, you don't require a H4 in maths. So as you can see, you know, depending on their interests, there are specific course requirements. The next one, please. A huge question we're always asked is, do I need a foreign language? So for the National University of Ireland colleges, that would be UCC, that's Cork, UCG Dublin, UCG, that's Galway, and then Maynooth. And Maynooth is a college that a huge number of our students go to every year. Yes, you do need to have a foreign language, except for science, agricultural science, social science, computer science, engineering and nursing. So, you know, we run into this a lot, especially this time of year with our sixth years, when they're looking at their courses. A lot of students would do the arts degree program and they need a language for that. So it's just very important to keep that in mind. For Trinity and the University of Limerick, you need a language if you don't have Irish. Okay, so that's just a little difference there. And then for DCU and the ITs and TU Dublin, you don't need a language. So that's, you know, that's just to give you a kind of a broad aspect of the foreign language. A foreign language also for those students that are would study their own language, which might be Polish or Russian or Lithuanian. So once you, or Japanese, they're all classified as a modern foreign language. If you do a language for your Leaving Cert, no matter what the language is, that qualifies for a modern foreign language. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. So what do the students and yourselves need to do? It's just take time to reflect and, you know, consider what is right for them, what they're doing for their junior cert, what subjects they're enjoying, and what maybe they might have some career in mind, and just to think about that and to discuss their options with you, with their teachers and guidance counsellor or whoever they need to discuss it with. And all of this then will help them make an informed choice. Thank you. Next one, please. Students must remember to choose subjects they like. I know I keep harping on about that, but that is so important because it's all about getting as many points as they possibly can. Choose subjects they're good at, choose subjects they must have if they have a career in mind, choose the subject, not the teacher or the friend. So, you know, I said this already, but just not to think about their friend doing it or being in the same class, or a particular teacher or anything of the sort. They don't know who they'll have or what class they'll be in. So it's just very important to pick the subject because they like it. And again, we always kind of recommend choose a broad range of subjects, maybe a science, a business, a humanities, a language. This gives you greater options when you're filling out the CAO form in sixth year. Thank you, Ms. Ryan. How can you as a parent help with their decision? Well, encourage them to keep all their options open for as long as possible. Encourage them to be proactive in their research and encourage discussions with them over the next few weeks and, you know, tease it out and have a look at the college websites and different things and see, you know, just see where they're thinking and what you think as well. And like that, as I said earlier on, you're at home with them every day. You know how they're doing in certain subjects and which ones they're, you know, doing well in and which ones they're enjoying as well. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. What should the students do next? So they can check out the college prospectuses on the websites and job descriptions before making the choices. They can talk obviously to yourselves, to us and to teachers to help them. And we've got a few very, very good websites. The CAO.ie has college information stuff, and so does qualifax.ie. And careersportal.ie is an amazing web page. It's very up to date and they do careers by sectors. So, you know, you can go in and look at the different sectors that have careers, and then in there they have videos as well, 2 and 3 minute videos of different people in different jobs telling you how they got there, what they did for their subjects they did for their Leaving Cert, and all of that. So Careers Portal is also, it's a really, really good website for you to have a look at there. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. So the words of wisdom that we have from all our years of doing this. Fifth year is, you know, it's a very, very tough year, and the Leaving Cert, it's 2 years of full-time work. We just encourage people to work from the very start, but we also are very mindful that education happens outside of the classroom as well, with sport and drama, debating, choir. Unfortunately this year, I mean, everything has been put on hold, but please God, now by September, when we're back again, you know, when things open up with vaccines and different things, that we'll be able to offer all these things to the students, because it's so important that they have the well-rounded education. This is a full-time job, and we really encourage no part-time jobs during the school year for 5th and 6th year. And just, we really want to reiterate, we are your allies. Help is available from your year head, Mr. Brady, from the tutors. We've such an amazing range of tutors with 3rd years, with the guidance counsellors, the principal, the deputy principals, subject teachers, and most importantly, each other as well. And, you know, that's really important, you know, if you've got questions to ask. Thank you. And the next one, please. So how do students choose their options? So the VSware, there's an online facility. So you all have your passwords already to get into VSware. So from tomorrow, this is open. There's a 2-week window. So basically, it's open from tomorrow until the 5th of March. So you just log into VSware as normal, and on your homepage, a senior options facility will be there, and you click on that. And basically, we ask the students to put their 6 favorite in order of preference. So the subject they want most is number 1, the subject they want next, you know, is number 2, and so forth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all the way down. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that we offer applied maths as well, but applied maths is offered as an 8th subject. Okay, so if your student or your son or daughter is very good at maths and likes it and would like to take on applied maths, make sure they put it down as their 5th choice. And once they make their choices, then they submit it there on the VSware. And one thing I would like to advise you is to make sure that when you've made your preferences and your 6 choices, just to write them into their journals, because, you know, in a couple of weeks' time, they might have forgotten what order they had them in, and so you'll be able to look back on it, just that you have, but we will have it anyway in the school to look back for you, but just that you'd have it yourselves at home, just to write it down into their journals, and they'd have it there. So that opens tomorrow until the 5th of March. And like I said, just log into your VSware as normal, and the facility for senior options will be there on your homepage. Thanks, Ms. Ryan. Okay, so before I finish up, I just want to say thank you, and we're now going to open up for questions and answers. Thanks, Ms. Clintz.
Thank you very much, Ms. O'Regan. I just wanted to add one more thing there. On our website, www.hartstowncommunityschool.com, there is a guidance counselling section that Ms. O'Regan created herself. So if you go onto our website, and along the tabs across the top of our website, I'll show you at the very end of this, I'll show you how to get into it. There's a guidance counselling section. You click into that and it brings you into a careers portal where there's specific stuff there for our students in relation to careers. Thank you very much for that. Okay, will we begin our Q&A? So as I said at the start, if you want to raise your hand, if you'd like to speak on your camera, no problem, unmute yourself and just raise your hand and we'll get around to you. And we'll start going through the chat now as well, and we'll start going through some of the questions. So we'll answer as a panel, as we're reading through the questions, each of us, we're all kind of connected to different areas, so each of us will answer the question related to that area, okay?
Thanks, Ms. Ryan. And just to say, we recognise that there's lots of information after being given to you there. So please feel free to ask the questions. You know, no question is a silly question, and it's important that your son or daughter makes the right decision. So we want to help them in making those decisions. So the first question from Evangeline: how can they work? How can they have a work experience during the pandemic?
Okay, well, and just if I can have a look at that at the moment, it's very difficult right now because some schools are have postponed it. In our own case, we've postponed it until we think they're ready to. So they can still do work experience. Now there is a new initiative where virtual work experience is being explored. And I think that's coming to the Guidance Counsellors Association of Ireland, and they're working on that as well. And that might be running into next year as well, where there are a lot of companies now beginning to twig the fact that they can't offer work experience in the situation we have at the moment, or even if there are still further restrictions later on in the year. And what they are doing is they're opening up, they've created a new app, and students can apply for work experience. That's something I'm going to explore myself in the next couple of weeks and have a look at it. And it looks like a very exciting prospect. Look, I mean, it's a very hard one to answer for that. Right now, if everywhere you look, the bottom of, you know, most large companies or companies that normally take work experience, they really have booted TY work experience at the bottom of their priorities, I'm afraid. So, I mean, the answer is right now, if our present students are struggling to find places, next year I hope it'll be better. There was a question I saw there as well. The time to look for work experience, can I just give you from my own experience? And I had 2 kids in TY myself. The time to look for work experience is start looking now, you know, for students going into TY. You know, it's not a panic, but I would say just keep your eyes and ears open for places that are available if you know people. But really, at the moment, it is very, very challenging. It's really, really difficult, because normally and particularly where we are, I would normally see a burst of activity in January for students going up to the Central Mill to get places. That just isn't happening. So there is a possibility, can I just, you know, for next year's TY students, for there to be greater opportunities doing virtual work experience, which I think is something that will come online.
Yeah, I think it's such a huge part of transition year, and it's something that the students have missed out on so far. But at the moment, it is, as Mr. Wade said there, it's postponed, so we haven't cancelled it. So if we can move ahead with work experience later in this year, and if the restrictions are lifted in regarding that, and if insurance is covering it and everything, we will make it a priority for TYs. Thanks, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Noel has said TYs this year did nothing, not the school's fault, but charged for it, and no outings, etc. done. Very disappointing for students.
It is. It's heartbreaking for students. It's we're all quite upset about it, and it's such a huge part of our school, and we're so sorry that TYs couldn't get the same opportunities that we would in a normal year. But we are looking at refunding part of that at the end of the year, but we won't be able to look at it until the very end of the year, because I suppose, you know, we look for the positives and we look for the hopeful future of it, that but if we can run stuff between now and the end of the year, we will go for that and make it as best as possible as we can until the end of the year. But we are very aware that trips like Carlingford and all that didn't go ahead, and we will be looking at that towards the end of the year.
Thanks.
And they are booked for next year already, those trips, so we are planning to run those going ahead next year.
Thank you. B. Galvin has said, Mr. Fleming, you can answer this one. How do we apply for TY?
So the students have been applying for TY over the last while. So what they have to do is they go into their Microsoft Teams page, and it's on the 3rd year page, and they just click on the link and just indicate yes or no whether they want to do TY. If they're having trouble with it, they can send me a message on Teams. And what I said on the chat there earlier on, if anyone else would like to have a chat about TY, I'm happy. If you just email me, I'll put my email in the chat, and myself and Mr. Wade will call you up and just give you a chat about it if you need more information.
Thanks, Mr. Fleming. Regarding TY, where can I access a copy of the TY timetable? And then actually a parent, which is brilliant, has answered another parent. So the timetable for the week is on VSware under the child's profile. So all of the student timetables are uploaded on their VSware. So if you log into your child's VSware account, you'll see their timetable uploaded there. Okay. So Evangeline has asked, do we have to pay extra for transition year?
Yes, so the fee this year was 350, and it'll be the same next year.
Thanks.
And that covers trips and all the different things that we do, and we are planning to do all that next year.
It covers the normal TY, so as I said, since this year wasn't normal, we will be looking at that at the end of this year for the current TYs, okay?
P. Galvin, with the absence of a tech teacher for Junior Cert, how is this being addressed locally and nationwide for Junior Cert and Leaving Cert particularly?
Okay, so we had an awful struggle, like many other schools as well. We're schools were missing French teachers and Irish teachers and practical teachers across the country, and it has been a massive issue this year. Nationally, it's quite a big problem with the teacher. There's a teacher supply crisis. So we were a term without a technology teacher. Thankfully, we have a fantastic teacher, Mr. Mangan, who joined us after Christmas. So I have addressed this with the Department of Education and with the State Exams Commission, and I'm in talks with them at the moment to see about extending the deadlines for their projects, as some of the projects they only have a 15-week window, especially in junior cert, to finish that technology project in junior cert. So I'm in talks with them at the moment about how to extend the deadline for that. But I think I've been pushed down the barrel a little bit with the Leaving Cert, the overall Leaving Cert and the overall Junior Cert at the moment. But thankfully we have a fantastic teacher since the start of January who has been logged online with the classes and is going really, really well so far. But at the moment it is with the state exams and the Department of Education. And once I hear more information from them, I will let you all know.
Thanks, Ms. Ryan. Cynthia has asked, why is there no teaching going on for computing for transition year? So Cynthia, go ahead, Mr. Wade.
Yeah, I mean, they do IT. It's on their timetables, you know. Now, I think what might be referred to there is that something like coding or specific or computer science, and that we don't have, okay? But there is an IT slot on their timetable.
And I suppose just to follow on from that, I suppose transition year is ever evolving. So the program started 26 years ago and it looks very different now than it did 26 years ago. So there's always new areas being introduced and stuff. So if there was a huge amount of interest, or, you know, enough interest, that's definitely a possibility, which is the great thing about transition year.
One of the things. Oh, sorry, Mr. Wade.
Sorry, we have done linked programs, and we were doing it up to last year, which is really unfortunate. With a company called Future Learning, where our students were going out for a week to a group called Future Learning in town, where they would gain a lot of really good IT skills, where they would create multimedia projects. And they would do it through different languages. Unfortunately, we can't do it this year. So hopefully hopefully Future Learning will be back next year. So we do open up to particularly work with outside agencies that come in that help us in IT. But we don't have coding. I think that's maybe what you're looking at, or computer science. No, that we don't have. There's just, while I'm here as well, I just noticed about, I saw a question about programs from next year for Evangeline. For the program in next year, we have to look at what restrictions that may still be around. So the Professional Development Service for Teachers is running a series of programs in the next couple of weeks, which I'll be attending and looking at how we can modify our program. So I won't be able to answer you that fully until we have a look and see how things are after the break nationally for TY, and that's going to happen the week after the midterm break. So, like, if you want to, I can pass on any information later on, and just contact the school. Just send them an email and they'll forward it to me and I'll get back to you. Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Wade. Mr. Fleming, did you want to add something to that?
I just was thinking about some of the other things that happen in TY, and when we were doing our presentations to staff, actually Mr. Gerard, one of the form tutors, was talking about the Future Leaders program. That is one of the things that he runs, which is great because it kind of looks at aspects of performance in sport and links Gaelic football to other sports. So it's a really interesting thing that happens during TY that I think over the next couple of years will happen again. Certainly there's a lot of interest in it, so that's one of the things that is new and unique to TY in our school.
Thanks, Mr. Fleming. How do we find, sorry Miss, go ahead.
No, you're okay. Just to even come in there about the Future Leaders, it was a huge addition to the TY course this year. And again, that came from students wanted a bit more sport, a bit more GA within their curriculum. And again, we also have TY Architecture that we introduced this year, where we have an architect coming from a company outside the school coming in to work with students on a beautiful architectural project with them. So it's beautiful. And again, came from students and came from teachers. So the students' voice is very much heard when it comes to the TY programme. And if there's a want for computing, coding and everything else, it will be looked at. Thank you, Ms. Lynn.
Thank you. B. Galvin has said, how do we find out find out for some specific career what the minimum points they need or what courses are best to choose from?
Ms. Clintz, we've had some very detailed questions from students about specific courses already, and they use Microsoft Chats to do that. So we're absolutely delighted to receive those requests. Parents can email us directly, E. Brady or E. O'Regan, or the students can continue to ask us on Microsoft Teams.
Thanks, Mr. Brady. P. Galvin has said, can you share these slides after the meeting? Please share your wisdom, please. Much appreciated. And
yeah, they'll be up on the website tomorrow, and with the link with the article on transition year as well. So it'll be, Miss Ryan's going to show you anyway the website page, and it'll be on that. Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Miss. Mr. Wade has answered that, just about looking for when they should start looking for work experience. B. Galvin said, do we need to choose the subject even if we want to apply for transition year?
No. So if your student is applying for a transition year, they just apply to the form that's on Microsoft Teams, and then we put them in that pot for TY, and they don't have to choose their options.
Yeah. So you'll be choosing options then this time next year, going in from TY into 5th year. Jolene has asked, my daughter is exempt from Irish in transition year. What happens for her in 5th year?
So if she has an exemption, and that's a department exemption, well then that carries forward, doesn't it? And for college then as well, we have exemption forms, and that we would just get them filled out in 6th year and send it to the universities, and that's no problem at all.
Thanks, Miss. Jennifer has asked, can the students pick 2 subjects from the same section, for example, PE and technology?
Yes. So we're very, very lucky. There's 21 subjects, and they can pick from anywhere they want. And so if it's to science or to practical, or it's going with their own strengths all the way, yeah.
Thanks, Miss. Annette has said, what happens if you don't get a subject you choose but know it's needed for what they are planning to do? So Annette, the hope is that each student gets their first 4 options. So hopefully that won't be an issue. So just to kind of give you that reassurance that each, I suppose our priority is that each student gets their 4 options. Andrea said, can you talk more about PLC?
Well, PLCs are post-Leaving Cert courses and what our students might do after they leave us. The local one to us would be Dunboyne College, and we do have a lot of students that progress to Dunboyne College. Every course that they do in a PLC is 1 year. And the minimum entry requirement is that they get 5 what used to be passes in their Leaving Cert, so 5 06s. A lot of our students use it as a fallback, so they would apply through the CAO for a 3 or 4 year course, but they'd also have a backup of an application to Dunboyne PLC or a different PLC. Why do people do it? They may not have got the points required for their course. They may not want to commit to a 3 or 4 year course and be happy just to do a 1 year course. Or they're not too sure what they want to do, so they do a general 1 year course beforehand.
Thanks, Mr. Brady. Just in relation to the closing date for transition year and the Leaving Cert. So, Mr. Fleming, the closing date to apply for TY?
So I've actually just, as we were speaking there, extended it to Tuesday, just so we make sure we get it, give people the opportunities. So they have until Tuesday, so we make sure that everyone gets a chance.
Okay, brilliant. And just in terms of the Leaving Cert, so the VSware facility will be open until the 5th of March. So we ask that each student logs on and logs their 4 or their 6 preferences, and that way we can get working on it to try to make sure that each student gets their first 4 options. And Jackie has asked, is there a possibility students won't get the subjects they pick? So hopefully, Jackie, that we won't have any students disappointed and they'll all get their 4 options. A. Skelly, is there any support planned when returning to school after lockdown in reference to those kids whose grades have gone down due to the time out of school? One of our lads have already had to drop down from higher to ordinary maths. I'm concerned they might have lost a lot of confidence and feel it might ruin their opportunities. Ms. Costello, this
Yeah.
might be one for you in relation to the maths clubs.
Yeah, that's a fair enough question, all right. And actually what we have online already for our students is Maths Club. So Maths Club has gone online. So if your son or daughter is worried about their maths grades in particular, what they need to do is to take a quick email to the teacher connected to Maths Club. So for junior students, anybody in first, second and third year, that's Miss McCarthy. And for senior students, it's Miss Hutchings. And the students this week have just been made aware of that. And on their Teams page, there is the information for Maths Club. And they'll only, in Maths Club, there'll be one Teams page and they'll be streamed into their year groups. So there'll be a channel for year groups and it'll just be for, so it'll be very specific to what they need. And for junior cert, it's also split down further into higher and ordinary level. So, you know, that's there. And teachers are, the teaching and learning team, both the teachers one and the students teaching and learning team are looking very closely at all the different supports that can be offered. So yeah, we're definitely working on that.
Thanks,
I'll just follow up on that as well. Just we had just about to start third year supervised study just before we got locked down. That will be starting as soon as we open up again, and that's a really, really good resource because it allows the students 2 hours after school to get stuck into their study. It's a really good idea. So we will be starting that as soon as we go back to school, restrictions permitting. Okay.
Thanks, sir. Okay, Annette has said, I know work experience is a good thing, but bearing in mind the pandemic, it's not the most important thing.
No, care and safety is the most important thing, no matter what happens when we go back. The safety of everybody and what's possible to do, you know, that's the most important thing for when we go back, and that's what our focus will be on. And if it is possible to do work experience, we'll do what we can to make that work. But again, safety is the #1 priority for everybody.
And as Mr. Wade said, I know that there's big companies in town who are adapting to it. Certainly we have a link with a law firm, Mason, Hayes & Kern, and they're doing an online work experience this year for a number of students. So people are catching up to it. So hopefully those opportunities will develop.
Thanks a million. Jackie has said, is it possible to take on a subject, for example, art for the Leaving Cert if you haven't done it for the Junior Cert?
Yes, so for a lot of subjects it is possible, as long as, you know, you have some kind of flair for it. So like I say, for music, we would have a number of students who wouldn't have done it for junior cert, but maybe had played an instrument before, or are involved in singing and choirs. So we would take them in, but you have to talk to the teacher, the individual teachers. So what I would recommend is, if your son or daughter is interested in doing art and they haven't done it for junior cert, just to contact the art teacher to ask them. Now, there are a few subjects that you can't. That would be the likes of technology, I think maybe DCG and engineering, a few subjects like that you have to have done for junior cert, but for the majority of courses and subjects you don't have to. But again, just if they're unsure, come and ask us and we can get onto the teachers for them as well. That's no problem.
Thanks, Miss. Fiona O'Keefe has asked, will all pupils get their options they want regarding TY, LCA and Leaving Certificate, including option subjects? So, Mr. Fleming, do you want to talk about, will every student get TY?
Yeah, so I mean, Mr. Brady touched on that earlier on as well, in terms of, there's a lot of freedom in TY. So, like, for the most part, most people will be able to do TY. In terms of LCA and the Leaving Cert, yeah, I mean, the answer is yes. And we take it case by case. I'll be having a look through the list of TY applicants on Tuesday, and then we'll be contacting people after that.
Thanks, sir. A. Skelly, can they choose 2 sciences?
Yes, yeah. Like I said earlier on, they most certainly can, and especially if our son or daughter is thinking about medicine or any of those kind of things, they do need 2 science subjects if they are strong at science and they enjoy it. Absolutely, most certainly, yeah.
Linda is wondering, when will students find out if they've got TY?
So again, I'll be looking at that list on Tuesday, and then I'll be communicating with students after that. So we'll be looking at it next week.
Thanks. Are the mocks and junior cert going ahead? If so, when?
We are still waiting to hear from the department on what the Leaving Cert and Junior Cert is going to look like. We don't have an answer for that yet of what it's going to look like. They're still working on it. When we have an idea of that, then we will be going ahead with our mocks, but we will be giving students a lead time. If we're doing it in person, we'll be giving them a lead time when they have to return to school first. So they'll have a week or two inside the school where they familiarise themselves back with teachers, back with subjects, get a bit of practice in and all that. We'll have a bit of time. But again, no final decision has been made yet. It will depend on what the Leaving Cert and the Junior Cert looks like once the department have contacted all schools about that.
Thanks, Miss. Estively, when will we find out if the students get the options they want? So as soon as we have all the information in, that information then will be fed back to the students. So hopefully in the next 2 months, students will know whether they've gotten all the options that they've chosen. Emma has asked, when can we pay for transition year?
So this year we introduced an online payment system, so that will be opening up in the next couple of weeks, and you can pay in installments, or you can pay all in the one go, and so on and so forth. So what
Evangeline just said, why does it say on the website that TUI is 300?
It's just a mistake.
Okay.
Okay.
Jermaine is wondering, will each student be given a list of subjects of their choice, and do they have to submit their subject? Sorry, it was late to the meeting. That's no problem, Jermaine. So if the function is going to open tomorrow up until the 5th of March. So if your child wants to go straight into Leaving Cert, they need to log in within those 3 weeks, and there's a drop down menu. You will see that they have to put in their 6 options. So that should, and their options then will be locked in. Okay, Sinead, is there any update in regards to mocks? So Miss Ryan, you've already answered that one. Okay. Will the students get help on picking subjects if they're not sure about which ones to pick?
Yeah,
again,
yeah. No, sorry, Mr. Brady.
Yeah, again, lots of students have contacted us, and what we would recommend, choose a broad range of subjects which keep all their options open, taking into account what they do like and what they have scored well at in their first, second and third year in school.
Thanks, Mr. Brady. David is wondering, how many places are available in transition year?
The beauty of it is, I suppose, we can add extra classes, so the numbers are flexible. So we want to get as many students doing TY as possible.
Thanks, sir. Catherine is wondering, is it possible to choose 2 languages for 5th year, Spanish and Japanese, for example, if the student did Japanese and TY?
Yeah, they can pick 2 languages if they feel they're very strong subjects for them. Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks a million, Mr. Regan. We have a parent here. Hi all, can you please clarify 6 subjects to choose is aside 3 core subjects?
So the 3 core subjects are English, Irish, Maths, and then they pick another 4 subjects. So it's 7 altogether, but it includes English, Irish, Maths. So then they've got 4 subject choice options, but we ask them to pick 6 just in case we can't give them their first 4. But everything is always done within the school to give them their first 4. Very rarely would a student not get their top 4, but just in case, depends on numbers and teachers, we always ask them to pick 6, but to make sure that their preferences are, it's done in preference. So what they want most is 1, 2, 3 and 4.
Jermaine is wondering, will every student get sent their option choices on Teams? So Jermaine, this presentation will be uploaded or is already uploaded. They need to log on through VSware. Adrian has said, I have a work placement for my daughter. Does the school organise insurance or do I? For TY.
Mr. Wade, you're muted, I think.
Muted.
Yep.
Sorry, Mr. Brady.
Sorry, work experience is covered by the State Claims Agency. So we have 2 insurance systems. One is a private insurance system, and that covers some element, but all of work experience placement is covered by the State Claims Agency, who are responsible for the overall insurance. And They cover work experience placements, not just in Ireland, but they can actually even go abroad, and they believe in cover it there. So you don't have to worry at all about insurance. We look after all that element of it. Employers always ask about the insurance. They ask what company, is it Allianz and that, but it's actually the state that covers the insurance costs. Now, once the students join TY, the first thing I will do within a week is we'll let you know, and I'll send you an email about those details. And it's also posted on the TY Teams page for the students, all of the insurance details, so that there are no questions about that. So that's not a problem.
Thanks, Mr. Reid. Natalie is wondering what happens if the child does not make a choice of either TY or Leaving Cert by next Tuesday. So,
contact one of us and we'll talk through you with it then. I think to contact one of us.
Yeah, as Ms. O'Regan and we've all said, we want to make sure that your child is making the right decision. So if they're unsure or they still have questions, we'd be happy to sit with them and go through the options just to give them a little bit of clarity on everything. So please feel free to email us. Jennifer, is technology computers, and can it be picked if they haven't done it before?
Technology isn't really, there's IT in it and computers in it, but I wouldn't necessarily compare it exactly to a computers class. It's kind of a mixture of engineering, DCG, bit of coding. It's a mixture of a lot of different practical subjects. If they haven't done it in junior cert, it would be you'd be incredibly disadvantaged trying to pick that for Leaving Cert. It's a very specific course. The language in it is very specific, and it would be too difficult to pick up in 5th year. It's definitely one of the higher order subjects where the language in it, you'd really need to have it from 1st year onwards.
Thanks, Ms. Ryan. Julie is wondering, is there limited places for Leaving Cert PE?
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Ms. Ryan. Okay.
Sorry, thank you. There would be limited places for PE because there's only 1 or 2 classes for it. So the PE department have been in contact with students in relation to that very recently. So just check with your child if they've contacted the PE teachers about it. They were on Teams very recently in the last day or 2 talking about it and asking for expressions of interest about it. So check in with them.
Thanks a million. Diana's wondering what will happen to a student if he or she needs to self-isolate during the mock exams.
If they have to self-isolate during a mock, then we would have to send the mock home to you. What we have done before is that you would collect an exam paper outside of the school, just at the front door, and bring that home to them then.
And Sandra is just wondering, when does applied maths classes take place, as it's an extra subject?
It takes place outside of school time, so it's not on the official timetable, as it's an extra subject that's taken by a small group of students. It's always on outside of school time, a bit like our Romanian languages and our Lithuanian languages as well, all outside school time.
Thanks a million. Rihanna has said, many thanks to you all, very informative. And another thank you very much for the information. Noelle, hi, as the students in TY this year didn't finish some of their courses for junior cert last year, will they be behind going into 5th year? Also, one subject is picked, can it be changed, and what is the window for this? Okay, well, I suppose students across the whole country are a little behind in all of their subjects. It has affected every single school in the country. So believe me, your child is not the only one feeling that kind of stress in relation to being fallen behind in a subject. I know the department will have to look at how the curriculum for those subjects pans out over the next couple of years. But that's their area to look at. But believe me, every single child in the country is feeling the exact same way. Going into 5th year then, once you've picked your subject, we're very much stuck in it then, because we've such a large school and classes are very tightly packed. We do look at it on an individual basis each time. So if they do need to change a subject, they'll need to come and speak with one of us, and we will talk to them on a private basis then. Okay. Thank you. Will has said, thank you, very informative. What is the website where they have their choice of subjects? So this presentation will be uploaded, and on one of the slides you'll see the list of the 21 different subjects. So this will be on the website, so on our school website, and it will also be on your child's team page. So it is actually also already on the third year team page. So if you ask your child to log on to their team, they'll see it there on the general forum. They can access the list of the 21 subjects. What do students study in applied maths? Evangeline is wondering.
In applied maths, so our teacher, Mr. Kerr, takes the applied maths course. I can't give you a rundown of the curriculum itself, but it's like it's an extra maths class, but at, I suppose, a more advanced level than higher level. So Mr. Kerr would be able to go through that with the students who, maybe if you have any questions, maybe tell your son or daughter to go and speak with Mr. Kerr about that, and he'll be able to answer more specific questions on it.
Stephen, I said, thanks very much for all the information. Actually, a very informative meeting. S. Divley, thanks everyone. Have a nice evening. Evangeline, thank you all. Stay safe. Thank you very much for the information. Very informative. Jackie's wondering, do parents or students submit the choices for 5th year? So Jackie, if you'll have access to the VS-ware. So I mean, I suppose if you sit with your child and together you submit the 4 options and just get them then to document that in their journal, so they know in what order they put down their options, their 6 options. Ronald said, many thanks for the information. Good night. If we don't pick physical education, do we still have normal PE?
Yeah, absolutely. Core PE still goes on, and exam PE is an option. So yeah, they will still do core PE. It's really important.
And Jennifer is wondering, what do students study in Leaving Cert Religion?
Well, Jennifer, Leaving Cert Religion there's 2 areas in it. Well, there's 2 parts to Leaving Cert Religion. They have non-exam and exam. And non-exam is a modular-based program that has been designed by the teachers in the school. But the exam-based religion is very much a follow-on from junior cycle religion, where the course is split into world religions, philosophy, morality, the sociology of religion and the development of religion. So it's a tough course at Leaving Cert. You know, it's an awful lot of writing. It's essay-based as well, but very, very interesting. And it's a good follow-on from junior cycle.
And has a question there just in relation to the CAO. So what is the CAO?
The CAO is the Central Applications Office. So basically all universities and colleges in the country are all under the umbrella of CAO. So when you are applying to colleges, you don't have to apply to them individually. You just apply to the CAO, and then when the Leaving Cert results come out, they're sent automatically to the CAO, and then they work out the points system, and then they offer the places representing the universities and the colleges. So that is something that is done in 6th year. It's actually at the moment, it was the 1st of February was the closing date when students apply for colleges. So that's, they're the Central Applications Office that we apply to for college places.
And I think the next question follows on for that. So when should they start applying?
Okay, so basically, your students are very lucky because they will have a guidance class in 5th and 6th year, 1 a week. So we go through all of this with them. And then in 6th year, it's very, very informative, basically all about the CAO. It opens in November, and then we go through the booklet with them, all the colleges, and then we do a demo with them, so they fill out the form with us in class just as a demonstration, and then they can apply anytime up until the 1st of February.
Messages, very informative. Nicola is wondering, so if they're doing transition year, we don't need to worry about picking Leaving Cert subjects at this stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nicola, this will be you this time next year. If your student is doing TY this year, or the coming September, this time next year, you will be thinking about your subjects for 5th year. Leslie has said, I find these Zoom meetings very helpful and informative. Thanks to all, and stay safe. I'm just, Noelle, I just don't know whether Noelle has her hand raised in the Zoom, so I'm not sure whether she typed in the question, or maybe Noelle has another question.
Oh no, sorry, I typed it in. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
thank you. No problem at all. I just didn't want to think I was ignoring you.
See if anybody else has a hand up there. No. Okay. Thank you for asking all of those questions. It brings out the conversation for everybody, and the questions that were asked, I'm sure, were questions that plenty of other people had as well. I'll just, before we finish up, I'll just show you where that site is on our website. So just give me a second and I'll share that with you on my screen. Okay, so you should be able to see that there. www.hartstowncommunityschool.com, and then under the guidance counselling section, if you click into that, so this is a section that Miss O'Regan designed herself, and all of it is there. Very specific to Hartstown Community School. Recent documents are uploaded there. And you'll find a wealth of information, all the information about your open days for the different universities. It's an absolutely fantastic website. So the students are aware of it. So it's really useful for you to be aware of it as well.
And can I just say, when you have it there, oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, you're
No,
all
it's
right.
okay. It's just, if parents were asking about different colleges and courses and stuff there, on the right-hand side of that page, you can click into any of the things there. So one said, there they are, Course Finder, Career Explorer, Career Sectors. So the Career Sectors is probably the best one to go into, and you can have a look at all the different careers, and then it tells you, if you were interested in a career, then what courses and what colleges are best to go to for that sector. So that's a really useful tool there, especially for third year and TY students if they're thinking about subjects as well. And also in that careers portal, once you go into it, there's also stuff about one link and telling you how to, gives you hints on picking subjects as well for Leaving Cert. So there's loads of stuff there on where it says useful tools. It brings you straight into it. Thanks, Ms. Ryan.
No worries, thank you. Excellent, that's it from us. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know we're nearly at 7:30 now, so I think it's time everybody goes off and gets a cup of tea for themselves. Enjoy your conversations with your children about this. This is a huge opportunity for them, and it's quite an exciting time. I know it can be a confusing time, but it's also a very exciting time for them, where they have a load of new options open to them. You know, the last time they were making options or choices like this, they were in 6th class, and more than likely you were helping them an awful lot then about their options. So this time you're looking at their own individual strengths and focusing solely on that. What is their individual strengths? What are they talented at? And going forward with that. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.